You didn't accidentally land here. There's a pull, a subtle tug in your spirit that guided you to this message. If you've ever felt a strange resonance in your ears, or noticed the letter M, or a perfect crescent moon shape on your palm, you know this isn't random. Something ancient is stirring inside you. Think of it as a gentle nudge from beyond the visible world, reminding you of who you truly are. Often, people brush off that ringing in their ears as stress or fatigue, but for you, it surfaces in quiet moments, just when life's distractions threaten to bury your inner knowing. It's a reminder. Remember your origin. Remember your mission. This channel exists to help you decode those signals, to guide you through the clash between clarity and confusion, and to support you as you step into a frequency you were destined for. Recognizing the inner resonance. From childhood, you may have sensed things others dismissed. You noticed energies in rooms before anyone spoke. You felt injustice deeply. You might have even heard whispers or felt subtle shifts that others called imagination. All of that was you being wired differently. Now, as that inner frequency awakens, you experience both uplift and pushback. This isn't a sign of weakness or illness. It's confirmation. Your soul is tuning into a higher channel. When that subtle ringing appears, at dawn, late at night, or in stillness, it's like a beacon. You're being invited to remember. It may come just as you were about to forget who you are. It's not a malfunction, but an activation. With that activation comes two realities unfolding at once: alignment with purpose on one side and an intensified stream of distractions on the other. Understanding the clash of forces. As your frequency shifts, you'll notice life responding in two directions. Alignment. Signals, a sense of clarity, meaningful synchronicities, unexpected insights, moments of peace or sudden inspiration. You may see recurring numbers or symbols that feel personally significant. These are like subtle confirmations that you're moving in tune with something larger than yourself. Oppositional ripples. At the same time, you might face confusion. Old wounds resurfacing, sudden emotional turbulence, relationships turning difficult, temptations surfacing that you thought were behind you. Plans derail, self-doubt creeps in, distractions multiply. This isn't random bad luck. It's the natural reaction when a higher vibration moves through you. Think of it as a protective mechanism from lower energies trying to intercept your progress. This clash can feel overwhelming if you assume something's wrong with you, but it's actually part of the process. Your awakening stirs hidden layers, both within you and around you. The noise isn't proof that you've failed. It's evidence that you're shifting. Trusting the signal, not the noise. When the inner tone surfaces, the first instinct may be to question your sanity or dismiss it as coincidence. Instead, treat it as a sacred cue. Learn to distinguish between true inner guidance and cleverly disguised distractions. A key question to ask yourself isn't, "Does this feel good?" but, "Does this expand my spirit, even if it challenges me?" True guidance may be unsettling at first, but ultimately clarifies. False shortcuts may feel comforting, but leave you stuck or fragmented. Start by observing patterns without judgment. Notice how right after a moment of insight or peace, something in the environment shifts. Maybe someone close becomes critical, or an unexpected setback appears. Rather than blaming yourself, see it as confirmation that you are stepping into a new layer of awareness. Observe recurring symbols, whether numbers, dreams, visions, or subtle signs around you. They're not meaningless. They often point to aspects of your path or messages you agreed to before this life. You don't have to decipher every detail at once. Simply acknowledge them and stay open. Recognize that your palms, if marked with meaningful shapes, are more than cosmetic. They may function like antennas, one side tuned to receive, the other to transmit. When you touch certain things or people, you might feel energetic shifts. That's normal for someone carrying a unique vibration. By reframing disruptions as part of a larger orchestration, you shift from fear to curiosity. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong?" ask, "What was I on the verge of discovering before this interference came?" That question reclaims your power and opens a clearer perspective. Anchoring and calibration. When disturbance arises, the instinct might be to push harder or retreat. Instead, anchor deeper. Think of your inner frequency like tuning a radio. When static appears, you don't abandon the station, you fine-tune. Here's how to anchor. Moment of stillness. Cultivate brief pauses throughout the day. When the mind races or emotions surge, take a few conscious breaths, feeling into quiet. This trains you to reconnect with the underlying tone rather than get swept by surface turbulence. Inner checkpoints. Late-night awakenings or vivid dreams can serve as checkpoints. If you find yourself alert at unusual hours, see it as an invitation to sit quietly and tune inward. You needn't force anything, just be present to what arises. Body awareness. Notice how your hands or body respond when you engage with tasks or people. If touching something leaves you drained or energized, that information can guide you toward environments or practices that support your alignment. Discernment. Practice. When you encounter a new opportunity, message, or relationship, pause and sense whether it brings an inner expansion over time, or merely a fleeting thrill that dissolves into confusion. True resonance clears a path. False resonance entangles you. These practices help you calibrate. When interference intensifies, you'll recognize it quickly and maintain your center. Over time, you develop confidence in your own guidance system. Embracing responsibility and embodiment. Awakening to this frequency isn't just for your personal benefit. It carries a responsibility. You're not merely a receiver of light, you're a transmitter. Every time you hold steady in truth, speak from authenticity, or walk away from old patterns, you radiate a vibration that can uplift others. But this calling also demands that you live with integrity. Own your journey. Stop shrinking or apologizing for your sensitivity. If you feel drained by crowds or certain conversations, honor that. It's not arrogance, it's awareness of your energetic boundaries. As you step into this role, you won't fit every setting. That's okay. Your task is not to blend in, but to embody clarity. Speak your truth kindly. When you express what you see or feel, do so from a place of compassion. Your words can stitch together the ache in others and offer relief. Yet avoid preaching or convincing. True resonance speaks through example and invites those ready to listen. Cultivate spiritual defense. Recognize that temptations or manipulative influences may arise tailored to you. Develop the habit of pausing before reacting, asking, is this steering me toward deeper alignment or pulling me into old habits? Over time, your inner radar becomes sharper, allowing you to navigate the landscape wisely. Balance. Receiving and sharing. Allow yourself times of retreat for recharge and times of outreach to share insights. Too much isolation can stagnate. Too much broadcasting without grounding can scatter your energy. Notice where balance lies for you. This may shift as your awakening deepens. By embracing responsibility, you transform from someone who simply notices the tone into someone who literally becomes the tone in action. Your presence, speech, and choices ripple outward. Finding your circle and co-creating amplification zones. Walking this path alone can feel lonely because not everyone resonates at your frequency. Some relationships may drift away, not as punishment but elevation. Your frequency increased and some cannot follow. This can be painful but also liberating. Seek those soul mirrors who recognize the stillness you carry rather than get distracted by drama. In these circles, mutual support. When you share breakthroughs or struggles, you're met with understanding, not judgment. This deepens trust in your own process. Collective amplification. Together, you can co-create zones where clarity is prioritized. Perhaps you gather for shared meditation, creative brainstorming, or simply intentional conversations, free from gossip or fear-based chatter. Sacred projects. In alignment, new ideas, opportunities, and even subtle portals can open. projects or collaborations that carry greater purpose. But these often appear in subtle ways: a chance encounter, a quiet inspiration, or meaningful synchronicities that guide you toward next steps. Maintaining frequency. In group settings, agree to practices that honor the collective vibe. For instance, open with a moment of silence, speak from the heart, and close with gratitude. This helps sustain a high vibration container. Finding or creating such a circle validates your experience. It reminds you that you're not alone and that your gifts can flourish in service of a shared vision. Living as a timelined guardian. There's a deeper layer. Many of you carry roles that span lifetimes. The symbols on your palms, the resonance in your being, they mark you as keepers of certain soul contracts or unfinished timelines. The disturbances you face now may echo past challenges, surfacing so you can resolve them and prevent their patterns from replaying in collective consciousness. Recognize echoes. When old fears or patterns emerge, see them as invitations to heal, not obstacles blocking you. By addressing them now, you free yourself and those connected to that timeline. Honor lineage and ancestral support. Your ancestors endured trials so you could stand here now. You might sense subtle encouragement or guidance from that lineage. Acknowledge their role and invite their wisdom when you meditate or reflect. Step into intergenerational healing. As you heal personal wounds, you contribute to lifting burdens that may have persisted across generations. This amplifies the impact of your awakening far beyond your individual life. This understanding can add depth to your purpose. You're not just navigating present challenges, you're completing chapters that ripple through time. Practical practices to sustain the tone. Rather than an exhaustive list, consider integrating a few consistent practices that resonate most with you. Daily listening moments. Carve out brief pauses, maybe first thing in the morning or in moments between tasks, to check in with your inner resonance. Notice any subtle ringing or sensations and breathe into them without overthinking. Energetic hygiene. Be mindful of environments, media, and conversations that drain you versus those that uplift. Gradually choose what aligns with your tone. It's not about rigid avoidance, but about building awareness of what nourishes your frequency. Intentional touch. If you feel energy through your hands, you might explore gentle practices like placing your palms on your heart or lower abdomen while breathing, inviting integration of higher guidance into your body. Symbolic integration. When you notice meaningful symbols, numbers, shapes, visions, keep a simple journal or note. Over time, patterns emerge that guide your path. You don't need elaborate interpretation. Trust your intuitive sense about what resonates. Occasional retreats, whether a short nature walk, a brief digital fast, or a solitary moment in quiet, stepping away from noise helps you recalibrate and hear the tone more clearly. Remember, these practices aren't chores. They're invitations to deepen your relationship with your own resonance. Embracing tests as growth. When interference intensifies, emotional storms, unexpected conflicts, temptations, you're facing an initiation. Rather than resisting, see it as a calibration phase. Your system is updating to hold a higher vibration. Respond by pausing before reacting. Allow space to sense what message lies beneath the surface disturbance. Asking, what was I on the verge of receiving or expressing before this test appeared? This reframes difficulty as doorway. Trusting that each resolved interference strengthens your capacity to sustain clarity and serve others more effectively. Over time, what once shook you becomes a signal that you're advancing. You learn to flow with the current rather than fight it. Stepping into active service. At a certain point, you move from personal awakening to active expression, letting the tone flow through your words, art, work, or presence. This may look like sharing your story. When you speak of your journey, honestly but without ego, you offer others permission to explore their own inner signals. Creating resonant content or community, whether through videos, writing, gatherings, or creative projects, you channel the vibration in forms that others can access. Living your values. Each choice, how you treat others, How you steward your time and resources becomes an expression of the tone, modeling a different way of being, guiding with humility. As you teach or mentor, remain open to your own ongoing learning. The tone is alive, it evolves as you do. Active service isn't about grandiosity. Even small acts, listening deeply to a friend, offering kindness when it's unexpected, can carry the tone into the world. Maintaining balance and well-being. Carrying a higher vibration can be demanding. To sustain yourself, physical care, ensure adequate rest, nourishing food, gentle movement. Your body is the vessel through which the tone operates, so treat it kindly. Emotional check-ins. Notice when overwhelm arises. Allow yourself to feel without judgment. Sometimes tears, frustration, or fatigue are part of integration. Boundaries. Learn to say no to what scatters your energy. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but protecting your frequency is essential. Joy and creativity. Don't neglect lightness. Engage in activities that spark delight or playfulness. Creativity can be a powerful conduit for the tone. Continued learning. Explore teachings, practices, or mentors that deepen your discernment, but always test external advice against your own inner resonance. Balance isn't static, it shifts. Stay attuned and adjust as needed, trusting that self-care is integral to your mission. Invitation to engage and commit. If this message resonates, consider it an invitation, not merely to watch, but to participate. Reflect. What subtle signals have you been dismissing? Can you give yourself permission to pay attention? Practice. Choose one simple anchoring method, perhaps a daily pause or noticing dreams, and commit to it for a week. Connect. Seek at least one person or small group where you can share honestly without fear of judgment. Even an online community or a trusted friend can be a start. Express. Find a small way to share your emerging insights, maybe a short post, a conversation, or a creative note. You don't need a large audience. Authenticity matters more than numbers. Trust the process. Remember that interference is part of growth. When confusion arises, return to your breath and your inner signal rather than spiraling into self-criticism. By engaging in these steps, you reinforce your commitment to living from the tone, not sidelining it. You didn't stumble here by accident. The resonance you feel is your soul recalling its origin and purpose. The marks on your hands, the subtle ringing, the uncanny synchronicities, they all point to a calling that transcends ordinary life. Yes, you will face tests and opposition. This is part of the journey, but with trust, discernment, and supportive companions, you can hold your signal steady and let it radiate outward. This is not about accumulating followers or seeking validation. It's about aligning with a deeper current and allowing it to flow through you. As you live from this place, you become a living conduit for clarity, compassion, and transformation, both for yourself and for those whose paths cross yours. So, if you feel that inner nod, that stirring invitation, take the next step. Pause, listen, and honor what arises. Share when it feels aligned. Let go of the urge to fit in, because you were never meant to blend into the background. You were called to vibrate higher, to transmute challenges into wisdom, and to echo the tone for others who are awakening. Thank you for being here, for choosing to listen, and for daring to remember. If you sense something awakening within, I encourage you to stay connected, both to this space and to your own inner guidance. Together with kindred spirits, you form an amplification zone that can shift the field around you. Welcome, Timeline Guardian. The tone is alive in you, and your journey is unfolding. Keep breathing, keep tuning in, and let the resonance guide your steps. Your mission is already active. Now it's time to embody it fully.